The person who learns to depend on themselves becomes invaluable to others. The person who can stand on their own 2 feet becomes someone others can lean on. The person who has cultivated inner strength and self-reliance becomes a pillar that can support not just themselves, but their family, their friends, their community. This is the paradox of self-dependence. The more you can rely on yourself, the more valuable you become to everyone around you. Think about it this way. When you board an airplane, what do the flight attendants tell you during the safety demonstration? They tell you that in the event of an emergency, you should put on your own oxygen mask first before helping others. Why? Because if you can't breathe, if you're not taking care of yourself first, you'll be of no help to anyone else. You might even become a burden that others have to carry. But when you secure your own oxygen mask first, when you ensure your own stability and strength, then you're in a position to help others, to lift others up, to be a source of strength rather than a drain on resources. This principle applies to every area of life. In your finances, you must first learn to manage your own money before you can meaningfully contribute to family expenses or charitable causes. In your health, you must first develop your own fitness and vitality before you can have the energy to care for others. In your personal development, you must first cultivate your own knowledge and skills before you can teach or mentor someone else. In your emotional life, you must first develop your own stability and happiness before you can be a positive influence on those around you. But here's where most people go wrong. They confuse self-dependence with selfishness. They think that focusing on themselves first is somehow wrong, somehow uncaring. Nothing could be further from the truth. The person who learns to depend on themselves is actually giving the greatest gift they can give to the world. They're giving the world a person who is whole, complete, capable, and strong. They're giving the world someone who can contribute rather than just consume, someone who can lift others up rather than drag them down. Let me tell you about my own journey with this principle. Early in my life, I was what you might call a leaner. I was always looking for someone else to solve my problems, always hoping that someone else would come along and make things better for me. I was waiting for my ship to come in, but I had never sent one out. I was waiting for opportunity to knock, but my door was closed and I was hiding in the back room feeling sorry for myself. I remember thinking that if only I had been born into different circumstances, if only I had different parents, if only I lived in a different place, if only I had more education, if only I had more money to start with, then I could be successful. I was depending on external circumstances to change before I could change. I was depending on other people to do for me what I should have been doing for myself. I was like a person standing by the fireplace saying, "Give me heat and then I'll give you wood." That's not how it works. You've got to put the wood in first. The turning point came when I met my mentor, and he taught me a simple but profound lesson. He said, "Jim, you can't change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. And when you change, everything changes for you." That's when I began to understand what it really means to depend on yourself. It means taking full responsibility for your own life, your own results, your own happiness, your own success. Now let's break this down into practical terms. What does it mean to depend on yourself? First and foremost, it means taking responsibility for your own thinking. Your thinking is the starting point of everything that happens in your life. Your thoughts become your actions become your habits become your character, and your character determines your destiny. If you want to change your destiny, you must start by changing your thinking. And nobody can do your thinking for you. You can listen to teachers, you can read books, you can attend seminars, you can hire coaches, but at the end of the day, you must do your own thinking. You must process the information. You must make the decisions. You must choose your response to whatever life throws at you. No one else can think your thoughts, and no one else can make your choices. This is both the burden and the privilege of being human. It's a burden because it means you can't blame anyone else for your thinking. But it's a privilege because it means you have the power to change your thinking at any moment. The quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. If you think small thoughts, you'll live a small life. If you think negative thoughts, you'll live a negative life. If you think confused thoughts, you'll live a confused life. But if you learn to think clearly, positively, and constructively, you'll create a clear, positive, and constructive life. This is why learning to depend on yourself starts with learning to manage your own mind. Most people let their minds run wild like an unattended garden. They let weeds of doubt, fear, worry, and negativity grow unchecked. They consume mental junk food in the form of gossip, complaint, and mindless entertainment. They fill their minds with the opinions of others without developing their own capacity for independent thought. Then they wonder why their lives are chaotic and unfulfilling. You wouldn't expect to have a beautiful garden if you never tended to it, never pulled the weeds, never planted good seeds. Why would you expect to have a beautiful life if you never tend to your mind? Learning to depend on yourself means becoming the gardener of your own mind. It means being selective about what you allow in. It means reading good books, listening to educational programs, associating with positive people, and engaging in activities that expand your knowledge and capabilities. It means regularly examining your thoughts and beliefs, questioning whether they're serving you or limiting you, and making conscious choices about what to keep and what to discard. This brings us to the second aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own education. The formal education you received in school was just the beginning, not the end of your learning journey. In fact, your real education begins when you leave school and enter the real world. That's when you discover that success in life requires knowledge and skills that weren't taught in any classroom. That's when you realize that if you want to succeed, you must become a student for life. The most successful people I know are voracious learners. They're constantly reading, studying, attending seminars, taking courses, and seeking out new information. They understand that in our rapidly changing world, what got them where they are today won't necessarily get them where they want to go tomorrow. They understand that they must continuously upgrade their knowledge and skills to stay relevant and competitive. But here's the key: they don't wait for someone else to educate them. They don't sit around hoping that their employer will send them to training. They don't complain that they weren't taught certain things in school. They take responsibility for their own education. They invest their own time and money in their own development. They understand that education is not something that happens to you, it's something you make happen for yourself. I often tell people that formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. The person who learns to educate themselves, who develops the habit of continuous learning, who takes responsibility for their own intellectual growth, will never be at the mercy of changing economic conditions or technological disruptions. They will always be able to adapt, to grow, to find new opportunities because they have developed the most important skill of all, the ability to learn. This leads us to the third aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own skills and abilities. Success in any field requires specific skills and abilities. If you want to be successful in business, you need to develop business skills. If you want to be successful in relationships, you need to develop relationship skills. If you want to be successful in any area of life, you must develop the skills that area requires. Most people hope that somehow, magically, they'll develop the skills they need without really working at it. They hope that experience alone will make them competent, but experience without reflection and conscious skill development is just repetition. You can have 20 years of experience or 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. The difference lies in whether you're actively working to improve your skills or just going through the motions. Learning to depend on yourself means taking active responsibility for skill development. It means identifying the skills you need to succeed in your chosen field and then systematically working to develop those skills. It means practicing, studying, seeking feedback, and continuously improving. It means not waiting for someone else to train you, but taking the initiative to train yourself. I remember when I first started speaking professionally, I was terrible. I was nervous, disorganized, and boring. I could have waited for someone to teach me how to speak, but I realized that if I wanted to succeed as a speaker, I had to teach myself. So I studied great speakers, I read books on public speaking, I practiced in front of mirrors. I joined speaking clubs, I volunteered to speak anywhere people would listen. I took responsibility for developing my speaking skills, and over time, I became competent and eventually successful as a speaker. The same principle applies to any skill you want to develop. If you want to improve your communication skills, start studying communication. If you want to improve your leadership skills, start studying leadership. If you want to improve your financial skills, start studying finances. Don't wait for someone else to teach you. Don't make excuses about not having access to training. In today's world, information is more accessible than ever before. The resources are available. What's often missing is the initiative to use them. This brings us to the fourth aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own goals and dreams. One of the most important questions you can ask yourself is this: what do I want? It sounds simple, but most people have never really thought about it seriously. They drift through life without clear direction, without specific goals, without a compelling vision of where they want to go and what they want to accomplish. Many people let others set their goals for them. They pursue careers because their parents wanted them to. They live in certain places because that's where they grew up. They follow paths that others have laid out for them rather than charting their own course. They're like ships without rudders, blown about by every wind, never really getting anywhere because they never decided where they wanted to go. Learning to depend on yourself means taking responsibility for setting your own goals and pursuing your own dreams. It means sitting down and seriously thinking about what you want your life to look like. What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of work do you want to do? What kind of relationships do you want to have? What kind of impact do you want to make? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? Once you've clarified your goals and dreams, you must take responsibility for pursuing them. You can't wait for permission from others. You can't wait for perfect conditions. You can't wait until you feel ready or confident or qualified. You must start where you are with what you have and begin taking steps toward your goals every single day. I've noticed that successful people have something in common. They have compelling goals that pull them forward. They have a clear vision of where they're going and why they want to get there. They're not just drifting through life hoping something good will happen to them. They're actively creating the life they want to live. But unsuccessful people often have goals too. The difference is that successful people take personal responsibility for achieving their goals. They don't wait for someone else to make their dreams come true. They don't blame circumstances or other people when progress is slow. They understand that achieving goals requires personal effort, personal sacrifice, personal commitment, and personal responsibility. This leads us to the fifth aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own habits and disciplines. Success is not about what you do occasionally, it's about what you do consistently. It's not about the big dramatic moments, it's about the small daily disciplines. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Your habits determine your results. If you have good habits, you'll get good results. If you have bad habits, you'll get bad results. It's that simple. The challenge is that habits are often hard to see in the short term. The impact of eating one donut is negligible. The impact of eating donuts every day for 10 years is significant. The impact of reading for 30 minutes is minimal. The impact of reading for 30 minutes every day for 10 years is transformational. Most people know what they should do, but they don't do what they know. They know they should exercise regularly, but they don't. They know they should eat healthy foods, but they don't. They know they should save money, but they don't. They know they should read good books, but they don't. They know they should spend time with their families, but they don't. The gap between knowing and doing is where most people get stuck. Learning to depend on yourself means closing that gap. It means developing the discipline to do what you know you should do, whether you feel like it or not. It means creating good habits and sticking to them, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's difficult, even when you don't see immediate results. I often tell people that discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. The discipline of getting up early weighs ounces, but the regret of a wasted life weighs tons. The discipline of eating properly weighs ounces, but the regret of poor health weighs tons. The discipline of saving money weighs ounces, but the regret of financial struggle weighs tons. The discipline of continuous learning weighs ounces, but the regret of missed opportunities weighs tons. The person who learns to depend on themselves develops the disciplines that lead to success. They don't wait to feel motivated. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait for someone else to hold them accountable. They create their own motivation through their commitment to their goals. They create their own conditions through their consistent actions. They hold themselves accountable through their personal standards and integrity. This brings us to the sixth aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own attitude and emotional state. Your attitude is like a magnet. If you have a positive attitude, you'll attract positive people and positive circumstances. If you have a negative attitude, you'll attract negative people and negative circumstances. Your attitude determines not only how you see the world, but how the world sees you. Many people think that their attitude is determined by their circumstances. They think they'll have a good attitude when things go well and a bad attitude when things go poorly. But this is backward thinking. Successful people understand that their attitude determines their circumstances, not the other way around. They choose their attitude regardless of their circumstances. I learned this lesson early in my career when I was going through a particularly difficult time. Everything seemed to be going wrong. My business was struggling, my relationships were strained, and I was feeling pretty sorry for myself. I was blaming everyone and everything for my problems. Then my mentor asked me a simple question. Jim, how long are you going to let your circumstances control your attitude? That question changed everything for me. I realized that I was giving my power away. I was letting external events determine my internal state. I was being reactive instead of proactive. I was being a victim instead of a victor. From that day forward, I decided to take responsibility for my own attitude. I decided that regardless of what happened around me, I would choose my response. I would choose my attitude. I would choose my emotional state. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending that difficulties don't exist. It means facing challenges with a positive, solution-oriented attitude. It means looking for opportunities in every obstacle. It means learning from every setback. It means maintaining hope and optimism even in the darkest times. The person who learns to depend on themselves develops emotional resilience. They don't fall apart when things don't go their way. They don't blame others for their emotional state. They don't wait for circumstances to improve before they decide to be happy. They take responsibility for their own emotional well-being, and in doing so, they become a source of strength and inspiration for others. This brings us to the seventh aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own health and vitality. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. If you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you. Your health affects every other area of your life. When you feel good physically, you think more clearly, you have more energy, you're more productive, you're more confident, and you're more enjoyable to be around. Yet most people neglect their health until it's almost too late. They eat poorly, exercise rarely, sleep inadequately, and stress constantly. Then they wonder why they feel tired, look older than their years, and struggle with various health problems. They often blame genetics, age, or bad luck, but the truth is that most health problems are the result of poor lifestyle choices over time. Learning to depend on yourself includes taking responsibility for your own health and vitality. It means making conscious choices about what you eat, how much you exercise, how much you sleep, and how you manage stress. It means investing time and energy in your physical well-being just as you would invest in any other important area of your life. I've made my health a priority for many years now, and I can tell you that it's one of the best investments I've ever made. When you have high energy and vitality, everything else becomes easier. You think more clearly, you work more efficiently, you handle stress better, and you enjoy life more. When you neglect your health, everything else becomes more difficult. The person who learns to depend on themselves understands that they can't depend on the healthcare system to keep them healthy. They can't depend on doctors to fix what they break through poor lifestyle choices. They must take primary responsibility for their own health and wellness. This means educating themselves about nutrition and fitness. It means developing healthy habits and sticking to them. It means making their health a priority, not an afterthought. This leads us to the eighth aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own financial future. Money isn't everything, but it's an important tool that can provide security, freedom, and opportunities. It can allow you to take care of your family, pursue your dreams, and contribute to causes you care about. Yet most people have a poor relationship with money. They either ignore it completely or worry about it constantly. Many people hope that someone else will take care of their financial future. They hope their employer will provide adequate retirement benefits. They hope the government will take care of them in their old age. They hope they'll win the lottery or inherit money from a rich relative. But hoping is not a strategy. Wishing is not a plan. Depending on others for your financial security is a recipe for disappointment and struggle. Learning to depend on yourself means taking responsibility for your own financial education and financial future. It means learning how money works, how to earn it, how to save it, how to invest it, and how to protect it. It means living below your means so you can invest the difference. It means making your money work as hard for you as you work for it. Most people work hard for money all their lives, but they never learn to make money work hard for them. They earn it and spend it, earn it and spend it with nothing left over to build wealth and create financial independence. They're like people trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much they pour in, it all leaks out. The person who learns to depend on themselves financially plugs the holes first. They learn to live on less than they earn so they can save and invest the difference. They educate themselves about different investment options. They create multiple streams of income. They build assets that generate passive income. They understand the difference between working for money and having money work for them. Financial independence isn't just about having money, it's about having choices. When you're financially independent, you can choose work you love rather than work you need. You can choose to be generous with others. You can choose to take risks and pursue opportunities. You can choose to spend time on what matters most to you. But if you're financially dependent on others, your choices are limited and your freedom is restricted. This brings us to the ninth and perhaps most important aspect of self-dependence, taking responsibility for your own personal growth and character development. Who you are as a person is more important than what you have or what you've accomplished. Your character is your most valuable asset. It's what people remember about you long after you're gone. It's what determines whether people trust you, respect you, and want to be around you. Character isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop through conscious effort and consistent choices. Every day you're either building character or tearing it down through the decisions you make. Every time you choose honesty over deception, integrity over convenience, service over selfishness, discipline over indulgence, you're building character. Every time you make the opposite choices, you're damaging it. Most people think character development is automatic, that it just happens naturally over time. But that's not true. Character is built through intentional effort, through consciously choosing to do the right thing even when it's difficult, even when no one is watching, even when it costs you something. Learning to depend on yourself means taking responsibility for your own character development. It means regularly examining your values and principles. It means being honest about your strengths and weaknesses. It means working to improve your character traits just as diligently as you work to improve your professional skills. The person with strong character becomes someone others can depend on. They become someone others trust, respect, and admire. They become someone who can lead others because they first learned to lead themselves. They become someone who can influence others positively because they first learned to influence themselves. Character development is a lifelong process. There's no point at which you can say, I'm done growing as a person. There's always room for improvement. There are always areas where you can become better. The person who learns to depend on themselves never stops working on themselves. As we near the end of our time together tonight, let me share with you the ultimate benefit of learning to depend on yourself. When you develop genuine self-reliance, when you take full responsibility for your life, your result, and your future, something magical happens. You stop being a burden to others and start being a blessing. You stop being someone who needs to be carried and start being someone who can carry others. You stop being a drain on resources and start being a source of resources. The self-reliant person becomes invaluable to their family, their friends, their community, and their world. They become someone others can count on in times of trouble. They become someone who can provide leadership when others are confused. They become someone who can offer hope when others are discouraged. They become someone who can give when others are in need. This is the great paradox of self-dependence. The more you can rely on yourself, the more others will want to rely on you. The more you can take care of yourself, the more you'll be able to take care of others. The more you can solve your own problems, the more you'll be able to help others solve theirs. The more you can create success in your own life, the more you'll be able to help others create success in theirs. But it all starts with you. It starts with the decision to stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, to fix you, to complete you, to motivate you, to fulfill you. It starts with the recognition that you are the author of your own life story. It starts with the understanding that you have within you everything you need to create the life you want. You have a mind capable of thinking great thoughts. You have a heart capable of feeling deep emotions. You have hands capable of doing meaningful work. You have a voice capable of speaking words that can inspire and influence others. You have within you the power to choose your responses to whatever life presents to you. You have within you the ability to grow, to learn, to change, to adapt, to overcome, to succeed. The question is not whether you have what it takes. The question is whether you'll use what you have. The question is not whether you can depend on yourself. The question is whether you will depend on yourself. The question is not whether self-reliance is possible for you. The question is whether you'll make it a priority. I want to challenge you tonight to make a commitment. Make a commitment to yourself that from this day forward you will take full responsibility for your own life. Make a commitment that you will no longer blame others for your circumstances. Make a commitment that you will no longer wait for perfect conditions to pursue your dreams. Make a commitment that you will no longer depend on others to do for you what you should be doing for yourself. Make a commitment to develop your mind through continuous learning. Make a commitment to develop your skills through consistent practice. Make a commitment to develop your character through conscious choices. Make a commitment to develop your health through proper lifestyle habits. Make a commitment to develop your finances through wise decisions. Make a commitment to develop your relationships through genuine care and service. Make a commitment to become the kind of person you would want to depend on. Make a commitment to become the kind of person others can look up to and learn from. Make a commitment to become the kind of person who makes a positive difference in the world. The journey of self-dependence is not always easy, but it is always worthwhile. There will be times when you'll be tempted to give up, to go back to old patterns of blaming and waiting and hoping for others to solve your problems. But I encourage you to persist. I encourage you to stay the course. I encourage you to keep growing, keep learning, keep improving, keep taking responsibility for your own life. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to start, but you do have to start to become perfect. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do have to be willing to ask the questions and seek the answers. You don't have to feel confident, but you do have to be willing to take action despite your fears and doubts. The world needs people who can depend on themselves. The world needs people who take responsibility for their own lives and their own results. The world needs people who don't make excuses, but instead make progress. The world needs people who don't wait for conditions to be perfect, but instead work to make conditions better. You can be one of those people. You can learn to depend on yourself. You can take charge of your own destiny. You can create the life you want to live. You can become the person you want to become. You can make the difference you want to make. It starts today. It starts with you. It starts with a simple but profound decision to depend on yourself. Make that decision and then back it up with consistent action and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. The choice is yours. The power is within you. The time is now. Learn to depend on yourself and discover the incredible person you were meant to be.